Hey everyone, welcome back to another evening in the garden. Today we are going to begin our fall planting and I'm so excited. We're going to begin by being a little bit ruthless in the garden. We're going to take out anything that's not producing or is still real small, anything that's just taking up space that could be better utilized. Secondly, there are some structures that I need to move around, mostly for the peas. There is a trellis over here that I need to move into these two beds so the peas can grow up them. Last but not least, here comes the planting. So this is, I have so many seeds that need to be planted. We're losing daylight, so let's begin. I'm gonna start off by moving one of these trellises over into this corner. If you haven't used these for trellising, they are so cheap. It's called a ladder mesh rebar, something like that. You can get them at your local hardware store. This is when I currently have my watermelon and my cantaloupe growing up, and they are cheap for the price, sturdy, and they do a good job. So let me move this one. Easy. I've got one more over here that I can go ahead and plant right there. These work especially well in raised beds because they just kind of squeeze in the bed and the pressure it has just kind of keeps them in the bed, so that's real nice. Okay, now that that's done, I'm actually gonna come over here to the garden bed and kind of pick and choose what I'm going to pull out. We also have basil that's growing wild throughout the garden, and I don't really need that much basil. Some of it is gonna come out. Those areas are gonna be better suited for lettuce or kale or anything else that I can kind of just tuck into little corners. You should be able to see here, but we have this one basil plant, 2 basil plants, 3 basil plants, 4 basil plants. This one is kind of taking up the most valuable real estate, so I think this is the one that I'm gonna go for. And it smells so good. Basil just smells amazing. Now you can see this whole area is so clean. Let's go ahead and weed it. It just rained last night. I think we got about a ½ inch. This soil will be so great for planting in and also weeding. The weeds are gonna come out so easier, I should say, than if it was just our normal dry. I'm gonna pull this guy since I have all these zinnias, plus the roots aren't really that great on them anyway, so that area is ready to plant in. The other area I wanna look at is in this other bed. I wanna take a good look at all the peppers and make sure they're doing okay. If they're still pretty scrawny or not looking like they're growing, they're gonna get kicked out. This pepper here was actually the one that I had in mind, but it looks like it's actually producing. It's pretty small though. Ooh, 2 mini bell peppers. We're eating rich tonight. You can see that my cantaloupe plant is just crawling all over the place. I'm gonna make sure and set that outside of the bed just so I have more actual planting space. While I'm here, I'm gonna give this bed a nice little weed. Trying to decide if I want to take out this patty pan squash. There was another one planted with it, but the squash vine borers got to it. I don't think this one is going to make it. So I'm going to make a tough decision. I'm going to pull this one. It may have not done very well anyway. It's pretty weak. So I actually have all of this planting area in this bed. Let me go around to the other side to see what's going on there. I have one more plant of basil and this kind of... Is this a marigold that's over here? But you can tell this marigold is like on its way out. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull that guy. Probably this one as well. I'll plant peas on this trellis. And I put the same trellis over in this garden bed. So you can see they kind of mirror each other. Okay, I know I said that I was going to soak these peas before planting, but we've actually gotten a ½ inch of rain last night. We're also supposed to get another 1 to 2 inches in the next day or two. So I think they'll get plenty of water here. On this trellis, I'm actually gonna plant these burpina early. So this is a shelling pea. It just says it's 63 days to harvest. Peas can withstand a frost. So even though we have about 49 days till our first frost, and these are 63 days, it's totally fine because peas can withstand a frost. I planted my peas in February this year, like 2 months before our last frost. Good fall veggie to plant. So I'm just gonna plant them here at the base of the trellis, and it says 1 inch deep, which I believe is about the first knuckle-ish. So that's what I'm gonna use to measure. I'm also gonna double plant these just to make sure I get good germination. The soil is the wettest it's been all summer, so I'm super excited about that. Peas are also a good nitrogen fixer, so when these are done growing, what I normally do is chop off the tops of the peas and I leave the roots in the ground, and the roots will generate nitrogen back into the soil. It's a great organic way to add nitrogen back into your soil. It's supposed to stay cool for the next 5 to 7 days, so hopefully that gives them good opportunity to germinate, and hopefully we're done with the super hot weather. Have my fingers crossed that that's the last of that. This bed is currently so hard to get to on this side because I have this pile of sunflowers that I was actually going to save for stocking plants. Don't know if I'm going to do that right now. They are drying. They are doing great. Not sure if that's in it for me at the moment. Okay, peas are in on that side. I accidentally just stepped on this Thai basil and it released like a fume of basil. It smells so good. This variety is the spring blush pea from In My Gardener. They are this, actually, hopefully there's no buggies down in there. I might grow these closer to the middle just so I don't have to stick my hand in there. Oh my gosh, you can see them crawling. 2 in each hole, 3 holes, 4, total of 6 peas. Very nice. Okay, next up, I'm gonna go ahead and plant these parsnips. So these say to sow 1/2 inch deep, thinly in rows 12 inches apart, and cover with 1/2 inch of fine soil. I think I'm just gonna do 2 rows in each of these. Let me go ahead and weed these out since this is a root crop. I'm gonna want as much dirt as it can get. Let's throw these in. So if you've never seen a parsnip seed, here's what they look like. This is actually my first time seeing one. So I'm gonna go ahead and thinly sow these into here, like the instructions told me to. I feel like Salt Bay, but actually I'm Parsnip Bay. And then it just said to cover thinly. So let's go ahead and get those bad boys covered. Pat, pat, pat. Get those guys in there. Pat, pat, pat. I'm gonna do the same thing in this bed. Once again from another angle, parsnip seeds. I'm gonna sow these a little bit thicker on this side just to hedge my bets a little bit. It says so thinly, how thinly that is, but I'm just gonna put these in just a little bit more. I've also heard that parsnips are great to use the ground as like a refrigerator, so you can pretty much just come out here whenever you need a parsnip, and instead of pulling them and using them as needed, you just keep them out here, and the ground acts as a refrigerator, keeps them nice and cool, ready to go when you need them. Getting a little dark out here, but I think we have just enough time to get a couple more things planted. Over here where we cleaned out earlier, I'm just gonna go ahead and throw in some of these lettuce seeds right here along the drip line, just so I know that they are getting watered and they're getting taken care of. I'm gonna go ahead and do this row, the 4 Seasons lettuce, and this row in this Little Gem Butterhead lettuce. This is a great spot because it gets morning sun, and if the afternoons get too hot, it will get shaded and a little bit more dappled sun from over there. Lettuce also sows super thinly because they are such a tiny seed. Really tiny seed there. So we're just gonna drop them along here. Lightly cover that, just enough to get that contact with the soil. I like to press it in, just to make sure there are no air bubbles. Little Gem Butterhead. There are so many lettuce seeds in here. Look at that, that's amazing. I'm gonna do pretty much the same. Go up along here. This side. Not really counting how many I'm putting down. There's so many in here that I'm going to pretty thickly sow those. Get those covered. Just like that, and we're good. It is actually getting super dark out here now, so I'm gonna take my seeds, pack them up, get the hose out so everything can get watered for the night, and I'll see you tomorrow. Good boy. welcome to tomorrow. I think tonight we're going to go ahead and plant some radishes, my beets, and kale. I think I'm going to start with beets. I definitely missed this pepper plant out here yesterday. I don't even know what variety this is. It seems like the tag has gone away. I literally planted all my peppers. There's one little guy on there. I'm going to go ahead and pull this guy out. I know I said it was going to be ruthless, but if it's September and I've gotten no peppers off of it, I think this guy's gotta go. Straight into the compost. I'm gonna go ahead and weed this bed real quick, and then we can get on with planting our beets. I also didn't mention early in the video that all my beds have been amended for the fall. I went ahead and threw in some compost over all the beds and then added a fresh layer of straw mulch that will help add nutrients back into the bed. Okay, let's take a look at these beets here. It says, so these should germinate in about 8 to 10 days, 50 to 60 days till maturity. And for planting, it says, after planting, press down covering with soil firmly. Planting depth an inch. That's actually surprising. Plant spacing is 4 to 6 inches. Ooh, I can pull that out now. So this was a sunflower that I had cut, and I just left the roots in because I didn't want to pull up all the roots and displace everything. But since nothing is planted here, I'm gonna go ahead and pull this off. But look at the root system on that thing. That's wild. This will go in the compost. Bed looks good. Let's go ahead and dig an inch deep. Ooh, actually it said 4 to 6 inches, I think. Yeah. Okay, so let me go a little bit further. Kind of mirror these on this side. We'll start with this tall top early wonder. On this side, I'll plant the golden Detroit. I'm gonna go ahead and plant 2 in each hole. I do believe that beets are a pelleted seed. When you have a pelleted seed, it's actually 2 seeds. So you can kind of see that they have like a coating on them. And just across from the hall, we're gonna go ahead and plant the golden Detroit beets. So I'm gonna do the exact same thing that I did for the tall top early wonder. Oh my gosh, I guess I missed one. I am going to go ahead and lightly cover with some mulch, just in case if we do get a little bit of rain tomorrow, they won't just totally wash away. I'm not expecting a downpour, but it's Oklahoma and you never know. I'm back over here in this side bed now because I'm going to plant this kale. This is from the dollar store where you can get seeds for $1. So I'm very excited to see how these grow. I think I'm just going to plant... I'm gonna do 2 squares. So I'm gonna plant them in this square and this square. It says place 1 seed every 4 inches and cover with soil. When plants are about 3 inches tall, thin to 12 inches apart. So I'm just gonna do 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 1 per hole, and then we'll thin them out later. I'm actually gonna go ahead and plant 2 per hole. They were 25 cents, why not? This zucchini is growing massive. I cannot wait to harvest some. But I'm gonna try and move him out of the way a little bit so I can go ahead and plant some of these radishes. I'm gonna plant them next to my beans here and in between these 2 zucchinis. It says full sun to partial sun, so I think they should be okay out here. I don't think they'll get too shaded out. I think they'll get just the right amount of sun. Plant spacing 2 to 3 inches. I don't think they get planted very deep. 1/2 inch deep, so that's fairly deep. So I'm gonna go ahead and put them in these 2 center squares. I don't think I planted anything over here. If I did, nothing's showing up yet. So I'm just gonna pull away some of this mulch. If you haven't heard about this German giant radish, I got these seeds from My Gardener, and the back says that these are absolutely massive radishes. This variety is often confused for beets. German giant radishes are fast maturing for their size, and if you like a spicy radish, then you are in luck. These are hot, delicious, especially as a garden fresh snack. Beautiful red roots that can be as large as a golf ball. So probably that big. I'm really excited to try these. We've been getting into radishes lately, so I'm really hoping that these do as good. So what I'm basically, ow, that was pokey, gonna do is just kind of dig a little trench. I did this in the spring and it worked really well. I think I'm gonna do 3. I could probably plant more radishes in here, but since these are so big, I'm gonna space them out just a little bit more than that. So now I'm just gonna go through and put these in here, and I'll thin as needed. Get those covered up. It says these germinate in 3 to 12 days, which is kind of a wide window. Okay, that's all for this first round of fall planting. The good thing about all these crops is that they can handle a frost, so we can pretty much keep planting them succession so pretty much through the next couple months. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed planting our fall garden. I've gone ahead and linked some of my other videos below. I hope you take a look at them and subscribe for more gardening content. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.